In Santa Maria de Dota, province of San Jose, the Marin brothers grow and have a micro mill, where they produce high-altitude coffee of the Caturra, red Catuai, and yellow varieties. This is a project that they have managed to take to international markets with hard work and as a family, standing out for the quality of their coffee and the socio-environmental management of the crop. Roasting coffee is an art and a science, even more so for the lovers of this beverage. Today we are going to have the pleasure of seeing this process and at the end, a good cup of coffee.
Ok, necesito 60 gramos.
We are measuring the density of the coffee, of each micro lot, of the micro beneficio vara blanca. This to see how heavy the coffee beans are. This is going to have a direct impact on the roasting process. The denser it is, the more heat it needs. According to the data that one obtains this way, one can calibrate when roasting the coffee. What we are going to achieve is to develop the roasting well, to develop all the organoleptic qualities that this coffee has. All these data that one collects before roasting are crucial to achieve a good development of the roasting. We are going to see all the data outside of the machine. We are going to see the density, the origin, the height, the variety, the process, which is very important at the time of roasting the coffee, the humidity and the environment, the relative humidity and the temperature. It is not the same if you are on a day that is dry or on a day that has been raining for a long time. These differences in humidity will have an impact on the roasting time. The more I do, obviously the machine needs to be hotter to be able to roast in a certain time, and that is crucial for the formation of flavors. We are also going to see the machine's own data, which can be the starting temperature, the revolutions of the coffee, the air and gas pressure. And now we are going to proceed to make a batch for the calibration of the equipment, to see more or less if we are on time with respect to all these coffees that we have of this type. What I am doing is adjusting the speed of the drum. As we are going to take a sample, we need the coffee to complete a cycle inside the cylinder. All this is the first base batch to calibrate all the equipment, and thereafter we will obtain adequate times to adjust temperatures, revolutions, and also. Here we are beginning to have the data. What is happening here in the first phase of roasting, which is called the change point, what happens here is that we are going to put a mass that is at room temperature, which is the coffee, and we are going to introduce it into a chamber that is almost 200 degrees Celsius. The logic will be that the temperature of the metal will go down, however. This is not exact data from where we have positive data, and then we will have real data. What will happen from here on will be the second phase, which is dehydration. Here we are lowering more or less from 10% of moisture to the grain to 5 to 6%. Then, we will have place to the Maillard reactions. This is when the proteins and amino acids disintegrate and form a chemical compound called melanoidin. The melanoidin is the one in charge of the aftertaste and all the residual flavors of coffee. This part is crucial to obtain two of the main points in the cupping of a coffee. We are also going to have a reaction called striker dehydration. This means that it is a sub-reaction that what it does is to form the aromas. Now we were listening to the first track here. What is going to happen is that we are at the point of development. At this point we are going to caramelize all the sugars of the coffee, also in the final part of the roasting. It came out in 4 minutes. The first crack took place. We are going to give it 1 minute and 1 minute 10 seconds of development. We have already made the necessary adjustments. Now what we are going to do is to roast the coffee samples. We are going to start with the typical one. This typical one had a density of 85 milliliters per 60 grams of coffee. Here we use the test tube to see the density. It is a very hard coffee at 1,900 meters above sea level. The higher the plantation, the denser the coffee is. We are going to start with a temperature of 163 degrees Celsius. Here we are obtaining the first readings of this coffee. Little by little, as the roasting develops, we are going to obtain the floor data. It has only 19 seconds of development. The aromas that are still perceived are like bread and seeds. You have to let these sugars caramelize a little more. As they are going to develop, they will smell a little more like caramel and fruity. Now that the coffee has the desired roast, Pablo, the younger brother of the Marine family, is going to grind it and pack it in one of the presentations that the brand handles. The coffee packing part. In this part, what culminates all the coffee cycles. In this part it is going to grind the coffee in a medium grind. Nothing better to finish than a good cup of coffee prepared by experts. And this is the result of the hard work of the producer, who has taken rigorous care in each coffee process, which leads to an excellent coffee.